are back in the shed. I got the pack back from the welder today. It's been about 6 days. It's been 6 days since I dropped it off to him. But realistically, I haven't had the time to work on it anyway because I got a lot going on. But I got the pack back today. So what I'd like to do is start mounting some stuff on there. But I realized I don't have the right mounting hardware. So it's a little frustrating. I'm a little frustrated today. So usually I kind of have like a theme for each video where I work on a certain thing. But tonight it's just like there's no plan tonight. I'm so far behind I don't think I'm going to make the deadline for the 29th. I don't think it's a possibility now. But I'm still going to tinker away each night and see how far I get. If it gets done, it gets done. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I'm not going to rush anything. I'm not one to rush anything in my life. Take my time and do it right. One thing I'd like to explain before I start working on this is I brought my pack to my friend the welder to have the ugly weld welded. But my buddy Steve, the welder, he's an artist with welding. So when I showed him the pictures of what I needed, he was like, I don't know if I can do that. I was like, of course you can do it. Come on. So he called me the other day and he's like, we really need to discuss how far you want to go with this, yada, yada, yada. So I stopped in there this morning and he was explaining to me he's got to throw 1,300 degrees of heat on this thing to weld it together. And he's afraid of what it's going to do to the fiberglass. He wasn't afraid of it moving because he says, I've got so many bolts in there, it's held together good. But he is afraid of the 1,300 degrees on the fiberglass. So I said, I'm not going to risk anything. It was already tack welded. He tacked it for me. And I said, that's good enough. That's perfect. Because it's not going to move. They're stuck together. And I can simulate the ugly weld with plumber's putty, which I originally was going to do. But I was always afraid that with the plumber's putty, the lug would fall off or something. But now that it's welded, it's stuck there. So we're good to go. So tonight I'd really like to put the ugly weld on there. And do little odds and ends stuff like throw the crank knob on. And maybe put the ladder on. Maybe we can do the lineage ladder. Maybe that's what my goal will be tonight. Anyway, maybe in the V-hook. I'd love to put the V-hook mount on. But I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I'm not in the right state of mind. I'm overly exhausted. This video is going to be all over the place. So I totally understand if you take off because this video is going to be so sporadic. But if you're willing to ride this wave with me, I would appreciate it. So let's start working on this thing. 1, 2, 3, synchronize. 10 o'clock. I'm going to start wrapping things up. I got to work in the morning. But as you can see, I ran into another jam because right before I started filming, I took this V-hook and the main screws were protruding out of it, and I cut 1/8 of an inch off, figuring the shell was 1/8 of an inch. I didn't take into consideration these ribs along the side. If I left the screws alone, it would have worked out flawlessly. But I took it upon myself to cut them, and now they're too short. I have to go to the hardware store anyway to pick up the remaining bolts to put the rest of the parts on, so I'm just going to grab some extra long screws when I'm there for the V-hook. Once I get the screws, then I'll epoxy the plate in place. Most of the Proton pack builders online do this to give the mount a little bit more rigidity. The aluminum thrower does have some heft to it, and I don't want to take the chance of ripping the screws out. So I'm going to do what they do and just epoxy it in place. Off screen, I took some measurements to start mounting and holding the electronics, and to give an idea of where I'm going to put everything. There's a lot of great builds out there on the forums of what those guys did, and I borrowed a bunch of their ideas with the layout and mock-up and stuff like that. When the superhero was taken apart, it was documented, and you could see the circuit board on here housing all the electronics. So I'm going to try and mimic that. Not exact, but I'm going to try and mimic something like that. So if you do catch on an angle in the red lens, you might see a microchip or a capacitor or something besides the LED, like the real prop. M. Burkett, he's been my go-to guy on this build. He made a flawless replica, I'll throw that up right now, of the superhero, even down to the functioning electronics. He hunted down the same electronics and built his own circuits so it functions exactly like the real prop. So he's really helped me out on this. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have gotten as far as I have with it. I actually have the guy on speed dial. Most of the videos in between cuts, I'm messaging him, sending him pictures. What do you think? Should I tweak this? Should I tweak that? So I really appreciate all of his input and guidance. So I personally want to thank Mr. Burkett for taking the time out of his day to help me along the way with this. It really means a lot to me. If you're new to the channel, if you don't mind hitting that subscribe button, it really goes a long way in supporting the channel. I want to thank you all for watching. Keep an eye out for the next video. This is Haloax, out. Alex here, back in the shed. Tonight is a real bust. My camera batteries are all dead. I forgot to charge them. And I can't get the right hardware I need for tonight's video. So realistically, I'm going to try and attach the V-hook. But before that, I got some aluminum stock in. So my plan is to bend up the aluminum for the cyclotron and the power cell. We're going to head over to my grandfather's basement. My sister owns the house now, but in the basement we have all of his tools, so we're going to go bend up the aluminum in his basement. Let's go. This episode is really screwed up. I have to apologize. There's just, oh, I'm so sorry. The footage is, I don't know. It's hard to explain. I'm running into a problem where I don't have all the parts I need to accomplish a step. So it just really, I'm really bouncing all over the place, and it's just terrible. I have to apologize. I'm so sorry for this past episode being crap. And like I said, I'm not going to rush anything. I'm not going to half-ass anything just to get a video done or make the deadline. I'm not about that. I want it done right, and I'm going to do it right. So maybe, depending on where I'm working tomorrow, I can go to the hardware store and get the bolts I need, but I don't know about that. I'm happy with the electronics plate here that I made. I have to go back to the drawing board on the power cell one. I didn't take into account how thick the circuit board is for those lights, and also the way that the L bracket's in there. I already knew that this was going to be a problem with the L bracket, but I've kind of come up with the solution. So I need to make a few more bends to go up and over the L bracket, and then I can rivet through the L bracket and into the power cell bracket. So maybe I'll do that tomorrow. There's just not enough time in the day. I actually just came back into the shed to grab a template where I wrote down all my measurements to start 3D printing brackets to hold the e-cig and some electronics over here, but I can't find that either, and I don't know. Anyway, this is all a mess. I promise you things are going to start shaping up once I have the mounting hardware I need to start completing these steps. I mean, we're getting wicked close here, so it is very exciting. If you're new to the channel and you don't mind hitting that subscribe button, it really goes a long way. I want to thank you all for watching. Keep an eye out for the next video. This is Hallowax. Out.